When people are younger, love often feels like the most powerful force in a relationship. It creates excitement, hope, and the belief that strong feelings can solve almost any problem. Many people grow up hearing messages that if two people truly love each other, everything else will eventually fall into place. In early adulthood, this idea can feel believable because life is still unfolding and experiences with relationships are still limited. However, as people move through life and reach their 40s, their understanding of love begins to shift. By this stage, individuals have experienced different types of relationships, emotional challenges, and personal growth. These experiences reveal an important truth. Love alone does not always create a healthy relationship. Emotional maturity begins to change what people expect from a partner. After 40, individuals are less focused on dramatic displays of affection and more attentive to how someone behaves consistently over time. They begin to recognize that affection without respect can create confusion rather than comfort. Someone can say loving words, yet still behave in ways that feel dismissive, unpredictable, or emotionally distant. As people mature, they begin to measure love through reliability and emotional safety. They start asking deeper questions about whether a relationship truly supports their well-being. This shift is not about becoming cynical or less romantic. It is about recognizing that meaningful relationships require more than intense emotions. Emotional maturity encourages individuals to value stability, honesty, and respect alongside affection. By midlife, many people realize that a healthy relationship must feel safe and balanced rather than emotionally exhausting. They become less interested in chasing intensity and more interested in maintaining peace in their lives. Emotional maturity helps them understand that love should not require constant sacrifice of personal dignity or mental well-being. Instead, love should exist within an environment of respect and accountability. When these qualities are present, love becomes deeper and more sustainable. But when they are missing, even strong feelings can begin to feel heavy or confusing. This realization is one of the most important emotional developments that occurs after 40. It allows individuals to approach relationships with greater wisdom, clearer expectations, and a stronger sense of self. As people move into their 40s, respect and emotional safety begin to take priority over mere romantic intensity. In earlier years, the thrill of passion or the excitement of being with someone new can feel like the essence of love. Over time, however, individuals begin to notice that feelings alone cannot sustain a relationship. What becomes more important is how partners treat one another on a daily basis. Emotional safety means feeling secure enough to express oneself honestly without fear of judgment, ridicule, or dismissal. It involves having a partner who listens, validates emotions, and responds with care rather than defensiveness. Respect in a relationship is not only about polite behavior, it is about honoring each other's boundaries, perspectives, and individuality. After 40, people often recognize that love without respect can slowly erode their self-esteem and create long-term dissatisfaction. They begin to value relationships where mutual consideration replaces the need for constant reassurance or dramatic gestures. Emotional safety also involves understanding the impact of words and actions. Consistent support and patience often become more meaningful than occasional grand declarations of love. At this stage, individuals are less willing to overlook behaviors that create tension or instability, even if they are accompanied by affectionate words. They understand that true intimacy grows from trust, reliability, and a sense of partnership, rather than from fleeting excitement. When respect and emotional safety are present, love becomes a space for growth and connection rather than a source of stress. Individuals realize that these qualities form the foundation for long-lasting relationships. They also begin to recognize that without these qualities, even strong feelings can be confusing, exhausting, or ultimately unfulfilling. As a result, people over 40 often approach relationships with a clearer sense of what they need to feel secure, valued, and emotionally supported. They learn to prioritize partnerships that cultivate mutual respect and safety, creating an environment in which love can thrive consistently over time. This shift represents a deeper understanding of what makes relationships sustainable. While affection and attraction are still important, they are no longer sufficient on their own. Emotional safety and respect provide the stability and trust that allow love to grow into something meaningful, supportive, and enduring. By focusing on these essential qualities, individuals at this stage of life are more likely to build relationships that are balanced, nourishing, and resilient. In essence, love becomes richer and more sustainable when it is grounded in respect and emotional security, reflecting a more mature understanding of what it means to truly connect with another person. By the time individuals reach their 40s, patterns and personality traits in themselves and others become much clearer. In younger years, people often enter relationships with a sense of hope and the belief that love will transform challenges or differences. Early experiences can feel forgiving because individuals are still learning about themselves and their needs. However, as life unfolds, experiences with relationships, friendships, and personal growth reveal consistent patterns in behavior that cannot simply be changed by affection alone. People begin to notice how their partner handles stress, communicates during conflict, and responds to responsibility. These patterns provide insight into core personality traits, which are often more predictive of long-term compatibility than initial feelings of romance. By midlife, individuals have usually faced situations where promises were made but not kept, or where love was present but actions undermined trust. This recognition teaches an important lesson. Love cannot fix fundamental mismatches in values, behavior, or emotional regulation. Individuals learn to assess whether the qualities that matter most to them, such as reliability, empathy, and integrity, are present consistently. They become more attentive to patterns rather than moments of charm or excitement. This growing awareness encourages people to prioritize relationships where behavior aligns with words and where mutual growth is supported rather than hindered. It also allows them to recognize early signs of potential conflict before they escalate. Understanding patterns in relationships is not about being critical or dismissive. It is about gaining clarity and self-protection. People over 40 have learned through experience that ignoring harmful patterns can lead to long-term dissatisfaction or emotional harm. They understand that affection is not enough if it coexists with behaviors that repeatedly create stress or instability. This stage of life encourages individuals to approach relationships with thoughtful evaluation, weighing both emotional connection and behavioral consistency. It also allows them to set clearer expectations for their partners, creating a framework for healthier interactions. Recognizing these patterns does not diminish the value of love, but it redefines what love needs to be accompanied by to be sustainable. Emotional awareness and insight into personality traits create a foundation for relationships that are not only passionate but also stable, supportive, and resilient. By paying attention to these patterns, individuals over 40 can make informed choices about partnerships, ensuring that love exists alongside compatibility, respect, and mutual growth. In this way, relationships become more intentional, balanced, and fulfilling, moving beyond the belief that love alone can overcome all challenges. This clarity is one of the most important developments in mature relationships, offering both protection and the potential for deeper connection. Boundaries become an essential part of relationships after the age of 40. In earlier stages of life, many individuals may tolerate behaviors that are uncomfortable, disrespectful, or draining, believing that love will eventually fix these issues. Young relationships often involve compromise and experimentation, and personal limits can feel flexible or even negotiable. As people grow older, however, they begin to realize that maintaining personal dignity and emotional health requires clearer boundaries. A boundary is not a wall to push someone away. Rather, it is a protective framework that allows individuals to engage in relationships without losing themselves. After 40, people often have a better understanding of their values, needs, and emotional triggers, which makes boundaries even more important. These boundaries define what is acceptable and what is harmful, guiding interactions so that respect and care are consistently maintained. When a partner honors these limits, it reinforces trust and stability, creating a safer emotional environment for love to flourish. Ignoring boundaries, even in the presence of affection, can gradually undermine self-esteem and generate frustration. This realization transforms how people view relationships. Love alone is not sufficient if it requires compromising one's mental or emotional well-being. Individuals at this stage increasingly recognize that a healthy partnership is one where both parties can assert their needs without fear of conflict or rejection. Clear boundaries also facilitate open communication. When people know what is acceptable and what is not, they can express themselves more honestly, reducing misunderstandings and resentment. This clarity allows for deeper intimacy because emotional exchanges occur within a safe and predictable framework. People over 40 often report that relationships feel more balanced when boundaries are respected, as it reduces the emotional labor required to navigate unpredictable or inconsistent behavior. They also begin to recognize the difference between compromise and sacrifice. Compromise involves mutual adjustment and collaboration, whereas sacrificing one's core needs can lead to long-term dissatisfaction. In this context, boundaries are not rigid restrictions, but tools for maintaining integrity and emotional health. They help individuals preserve their sense of self while engaging fully with a partner. As a result, love becomes more sustainable because it exists within a space of mutual respect and safety. Setting and maintaining boundaries is not a sign of weakness or cynicism. It is a sign of maturity and self-awareness. It allows relationships to thrive because both individuals are accountable for their actions and their impact on one another. By prioritizing boundaries alongside affection, people create connections that are both emotionally fulfilling and psychologically healthy. In essence, boundaries after 40 transform love into a partnership that honors individuality, promotes stability, and fosters mutual growth, showing that affection alone is not enough to sustain a meaningful relationship. Practical partnership becomes increasingly significant in relationships after 40, as life's responsibilities and complexities demand more than just emotional connection. Earlier in life, the excitement of romance or the intensity of attraction often overshadows the practicalities of daily life. People may overlook how partners manage responsibilities, contribute to shared goals, or handle stress. Over time, however, the realities of midlife, such as demanding careers, financial planning, family obligations, and personal routines, make practical collaboration a crucial component of a successful relationship. Love alone cannot organize responsibilities, solve challenges, or maintain stability in everyday life. Individuals begin to appreciate partners who show consistency, reliability, and the willingness to actively participate in life's practical demands. Small, dependable actions often become more meaningful than dramatic declarations of affection. Cooking a meal, attending appointments together, sharing financial decisions, or supporting each other during work or personal stress are practical demonstrations of care that reinforce emotional connection. People over 40 begin to notice whether a partner can function as a teammate rather than a passive participant in the relationship. This emphasis on practical partnership does not diminish the value of love, but it recognizes that meaningful relationships require both emotional warmth and real-world collaboration. When both individuals engage in practical efforts, the relationship gains a sense of balance, trust, and shared responsibility. It also reduces stress and prevents resentment from building over unmet expectations. Over time, individuals learn to observe not only what their partner says, but also what they consistently do. Actions that demonstrate reliability, accountability, and mutual respect create a stable environment where love can grow and flourish. Practical partnership allows couples to navigate challenges together, celebrate successes together, and feel supported in daily life. By midlife, people often recognize that without this cooperation, affection alone may not be enough to sustain a fulfilling connection. Relationships thrive when love is paired with action, consistency, and the willingness to share life's burdens and joys equally. Understanding the importance of practical partnership encourages individuals to make intentional choices about who they invest their emotional energy in, fostering connections that are both emotionally and functionally satisfying. In essence, after 40, love must coexist with practical collaboration. Emotional closeness without practical reliability may feel incomplete, while relationships grounded in shared responsibility and consistent effort become more resilient, fulfilling, and meaningful.